Episode 7. I ran away from Vipassana after 4 days. The morning bell rings at 4:30 a.m. I open my eyes in the dark and wonder what possessed me to sign up for 10 days of silence. To explain what led me here, let me take you back to the year of 1994. Five-year-old me has just run into my grandmother's room to hang out. As I reach the door, I'm stopped in my tracks. I stand in the doorway staring at her, confused. My grandmother is sitting on her bed cross-legged, eyes closed, doing something strange with her nose. I walk into the room quietly and hop up onto the bed, sitting directly opposite to her. I stare at her. She's inhaling deeply through one nostril while holding the other one closed, then switching sides. She continues these steps again and again. At the time, I didn't understand what she was doing, but at a later stage in life, I would come to know of this as alternate nostril breathing, or in Sanskrit, Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, a yogic breathing exercise. What I didn't realize at the time is this would become my first introduction to mindfulness and meditation. It is 2017 and I've asked my grandmother to come and stay with my husband and I in Brisbane. She had been living with us for a few weeks and I wanted to take her out, to socialise and do things she would enjoy. My grandmother is a Brahma Kumari. The Brahma Kumaris are a worldwide spiritual organisation devoted to personal transformation and world renewal through meditation and spiritual values. That weekend, there is a Brahma Kumari gathering at a nearby home, and my grandmother has been in touch with her fellow members in Brisbane for the details. On Saturday morning, I linger in her doorway and watch her slowly get ready. She puts on a white flowy tiered skirt and a white linen tunic, wraps a pale green pashmina around her shoulders, grabs her black walking stick, and we head to the car. When we arrive, I follow her through the open doors of a beautiful white Queenslander home. The house is bright and breezy, with air flowing through open doors and windows. She quietly greets several older women, all dressed in white. Om Shanti, she says to each of them. We are led into another room where about 30 people are sitting, cross-legged on the floor. One of the Brahma Kumaris invites my grandmother to take a seat on a chair, and I sit on the floor beside her. For the next hour, everyone engages in Raja Yoga, a form of meditation followed by spiritual lessons and talks called Muralis. It is a peaceful experience, and the people gathered around seem calm and at ease. But at 27, it's not really my vibe. I look over at my grandmother, she's smiling, radiating peace, and I'm happy for her. After meditation, we gather outside for a small meal. People come by, greet my grandmother, and talk about their lives while she listens quietly. I remember a middle-aged woman, quite emotional, telling my grandmother that her son had recently passed away. She had sought out the teachings of the Brahma Kumaris and found some peace and clarity since his passing. We stay for a while, speak with a few other members, and then go home. Once we are at home, we sit outside and have tea while we chat. She asks, "Saranya, why don't you consider starting to meditate?" Meditation has gained popularity in recent years with apps like Headspace, but I don't feel called to it. I tell her honestly in Tamil, "Amama, I don't really want to meditate. I do not want to become boring. I like my vibrant, straightforward personality and my creative edge. If I start meditating, I'm worried I'm going to lose all that, my spark, my thirst for life, and become like a monk." She laughs. "No, Saranya," she says with a smile. She explains that meditation is the opposite of what I think. If you think you are creative and sharp-witted now, meditation will only double that. It will sharpen your focus, bring clarity, and help you cut through. It does not make you boring, it elevates you. I nod, listening, but in the back of my mind, I still resist. For me, meditation is tangled up with the image of a monk's life, and I like the thrill of life. I enjoy going out occasionally and having a nice meal, wearing what I think is fashionable. I love cracking jokes and laughing. I'm not about to trade all of that or my fashion-forward exterior for an orange robe, or in my grandmother's case, as a Brahmakumari, an all-white uniform. But life as it does would soon present personal hurdles that left me with no choice but to lean into spirituality. "2018 had been a year of ups and downs. Without going into too much detail, I needed to get away and clear my mind. Towards the end of the year, I put my name on a waitlist for a 10-day silent meditation course called Vipassana. I'd heard about it from a few friends and family members who had good things to say about it, and at that point, I was willing to try anything. The next course was fully booked, but I added my name to the waitlist. In January of 2019, I received an email. A last-minute opening had come up for the Vipassana course in Queensland. I accepted, unsure of what I was feeling, but aware that I was not in a headspace to decline this opportunity. Having never really meditated before, I was about to throw myself into the deep end, though I had no idea just how deep it would be. I read over the list of what not to bring: music players, books, writing materials, food, crystals or any religious objects, perfumes. The list was extensive and, frankly, a little intimidating. But knowing me, I signed up anyway. The day arrived, I packed my suitcase, loaded it in the car and set out on a long 1.5-hour drive from Brisbane to Pomona. As evening fell, I reached the site. Driving up a dark, bumpy, winding road through bushland, I arrived at a car park. Participants began gathering, chatting nervously. From what I remember, there were over 50 people. I spoke with a few of them briefly before we were called in to a room for a briefing. Vipassana is a 10-day silent meditation retreat popularized by S.N. Goenka and run all over the world. It is a self-observational practice aimed at mental purification through observing thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations as they arise, without judgment. It is a free course. During the 10 days, participants must not speak to or even make eye contact with one another. On arrival, phones and keys are handed over. After a light dinner and briefing, men and women are separated and shown their rooms. Each day begins at 4 a.m. with meditation starting at 4:30 and concludes at 10 p.m. There are more than 10 hours of meditation each day. Writing, reading, or exercising are not allowed. After the briefing, I headed to my room, a shared space divided by a curtain. True to form, I kept my eyes on the ground and went straight to my side. I had a shower, changed, and lay down. I stared at the ceiling for what felt like forever, wondering if coming here had been a terrible mistake. Eventually, I fell asleep. I hear a loud bell outside. It's the morning wake-up bell. I open my eyes, it's still dark. I grab my toiletries and head to the communal showers. Everything is simple, sparse. Moving through my morning routine, aware of the people around me but unable to look up, feels strangely isolating. I'm not really a social butterfly. I enjoy my alone time and occasional catch-ups, but in this moment, I realize how much joy I've taken for granted in the little interactions, the random smiles, and the brief human connections. Back in my room, I get changed and follow the other participants along the dimly lit path to the meditation hall. I'm nervous, but also curious. I want to shift in my life, and I'm open to whatever this experience might bring. The first meditation sits for 2 hours, from 4:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. A loud voice comes over the speakers, and it's S.N. Goenka. I don't understand the words. It sounds like chanting, but not exactly peaceful or meditative. I remember at the time thinking in my head how scary his voice sounded. Then the technique is explained. For the next 3 days, our focus is to be aware of the air coming in and out of our nose and nothing else. I sit cross-legged on a cushion, determined. 2 hours later, I reposition my legs a dozen times. My mind races, I'm bored out of my brain. Every thought, worry and memory parades through my head, making focus impossible. Breakfast is a relief. The meals are vegetarian and prepared by volunteers, simple but nourishing. Afterwards, it's back to the hall for now a 3-hour session. Then lunch, then a 4-hour session in the afternoon, tea, and then another hour of meditation, and finally a 1-hour video lecture by S.N. Goenka. Come evening, lying in my room, I feel the weight of it all. I miss my home, my dog, going for a run, having dinner, and the simple pleasure of making eye contact with someone and sharing a smile. Day 3 arrives heavier than the last. I wander the grounds doing laps around the site, staring off into the bushland. I take a seat on a nearby log as tears slip down my cheeks. During evening meditation, I look up at the instructors on the stage. One of them is asleep. This doesn't sit well with me. If the lead meditator is falling asleep, what does that mean for me as a beginner? Frustration and doubt set in, and I begin to wonder if I've joined a cult. By the end of the day, I decided to leave. The next morning, I tell a staff member I want to go home. She insists it's against the rules, but I make it clear that I'll be leaving regardless. After the meditation session, I'm called into a room to meet with the meditation leader herself, the one I'd seen falling asleep on stage. She asks me why I want to leave. I tell her, I came here to find some peace and feel happier, but instead, I'm feeling broken. She explains that day 3 is the hardest and the turning point, and to stick it through. I nod, but tell her my mind is made up. They organise for me to leave when the next meditation session is in progress, so as to not deter the other participants. This only further reinforces my suspicions that the place may in fact be a cult. I pack my belongings and wait. Eventually she arrives and leads me to my car. Sliding behind the wheel, I breathe a sigh of relief as I drive back out onto the bumpy road. On the long drive home, I take some time to reflect on the past few days and the year leading up to them. I tell myself I'll make meditation a priority, but this just wasn't the right space for me. When I get back home, life slowly picks up its rhythm. I begin meditating occasionally, sporadic, short bursts here and there, but soon throw myself back into work, fitness, my social life, and just living. After being stripped of some of life's simplest joys for 3 days, I start to see everything around me with a new sense of appreciation. A few months later, I find out I'm pregnant with my first baby girl, and I'm overjoyed. At the time, I knew nothing about astrology, but since then, I've come to learn about something called Saturn Return. Around the age of 28 or 29, Saturn returns to the same place it was when you were born. This cycle lasts around 3 years and brings a wave of self-reflection, often through personal challenges, endings, or changes that push you towards growth. Looking back that entire period, my Vipassana experience, the struggles that led up to it, and then becoming a mother were all part of my Saturn return. It's a coming of age, not just in the physical sense, but on a soul level, helping you grow into a more authentic, grounded version of yourself. To put it into pop culture context, Justin Bieber is a great example of someone going through his Saturn return right now. Speaking up, redefining his image, becoming a father, stepping back from old management, all of it is part of his evolution. To the outside world, it might look like chaos, but energetically, it's transformation. So maybe I didn't fail Vipassana. Maybe Vipassana was a turning point I needed to start seeing who I was becoming. Now at 36 and as a mother of 2, much has changed since that Vipassana experience. I'm still very much in the early stages of my meditation and spiritual journey, but I do make it a priority to meditate every day. As the saying goes, we never stop learning. Looking back on Vipassana 7 years later, I can say this. If I were to do the course today, it would probably be a breeze. 10 days away, no talking, no household chores. Sounds like a holiday as a mum of 2. I have many close friends and family who have completed the course, some multiple times, and have found it to be effective and life-changing. I don't believe it is a cult, but it was simply not the right fit for me. Over time, I've begun to understand what my grandmother meant that day. Meditation isn't about becoming someone else. It's about returning to your authentic self, stripping away ego, cultural conditioning, and societal expectations that no longer serve you. That authentic self looks different for everyone. We're each here for a different purpose, gifted with unique skills and qualities. Some are called to lead as CEOs or entrepreneurs, others to nurture as caretakers, some as teachers, creatives, politicians, healers, the list goes on. This is one of the reasons I love astrology. It helps me see why some people feel drawn to certain parts, some to minimalism, others to a life of luxuries, some mothers to business ownership, others to raising the next generation, and some managing both. For me, I enjoy learning about astrology as I believe it's fascinating, but I also understand that you don't need astrology. I was going to go through that Saturn return whether I knew about it or not. My grandmother, now just months away from 96, remains one of the sharpest, most quick-witted and creative people I know. Today, I finally understand her message. Meditation doesn't make you someone else. It clears away the noise so you can hear the signal more clearly. That signal is the intuition. And now at 36, I understand that authentic self doesn't have to be a voiceless guru wrapped in drapes. It can laugh, lead, create, love the finer things, make mistakes, and still be deeply spiritual. I thought meditation was about quieting my mind, but maybe it's more about learning to hear the voice that's always been there, but life has drowned out. And with that, I leave you with this week's Serenaid, Swim by Mild Minds.